If we don't act now, my island nation will be submerged by the rising sea.
If we don't act now, the Arctic ecosystem will be lost forever.
If we don't act now, our forests will turn into deserts.
Hotter temperatures and drought will threaten our farmlands.
Our emissions will continue to pollute the air.
If we don't act now, warmer oceans will cause more severe storms like Hurricane Katrina.
If we don't act now,
This is climate change.
This is climate change.
This is
Climate change.
it's climate change.
There is something you can do about it.
help seal the deal.
Welcome to this week's edition of Seal the Deal. My name is Flemic Webb. In December, world leaders will be gathering in Copenhagen for COP15, the United Nations Climate Change Conference, where they'll hope to seal a deal on a fair, balanced and effective climate agreement that will promote a global green economy. And as we've already seen in this series, green business is proving to be profitable for companies across the globe. Saving the planet can go hand in hand with making money.
Global trade has increased exponentially in recent years. With countries around the world looking to boost import and export numbers, the demand for transport has grown too. Ships still remain the most affordable and preferred mode of transporting this trade across the globe. Although a necessity, transporting cargo by sea accounts for about 3% of carbon emissions worldwide. As a result, one organisation has developed a group that brings together the largest carriers and shippers from around the world. The Clean Cargo Working Group is a business-to-business collaboration whose sole purpose is to bring environmentally and socially responsible business principles into the ocean cargo transportation industry. Members of the group include more than 25 leading multinational manufacturers, retailers and freight carriers, which collectively move nearly 60% of global container cargo.
The motivation for carriers to join the Clean Cargo Working Groups are multiple. First and foremost, carriers, as shippers, are concerned about the environmental impacts from their operations. So that's clear, that's the most important reason. Secondly, carriers, like shippers, sees the need for common standards to a shared problem, that of climate change. So by working together, they can figure out what is the right approach to this.
The group consists of carriers who own and operate container vessels and shippers, those who transport goods across the world, such as IKEA. The aims have been to understand and measure the carbon footprint of individual shipments and make changes accordingly. The group's practice is based on open discussion and best practice sharing initiatives.
The motivation at the end of the day is of course to reduce emissions, and we are collaborating between buyers of transportation services and sellers of transportation services. We have been able in the Clean Cargo Group to set a common platform with common requirements, common ways of working to reduce different kind of impacts from shipping. So of course it's about the emissions, but it's also about environmental issues, it's about social issues related to shipping. So it's a whole set of requirements that we are addressing, and I think that's what also motivates IKEA to be part of the progress.
The group's development is facilitated by Business for Social Responsibility. BSR is a non-profit organisation based in San Francisco, and over the years has been able to bring together large multinationals that compete with each other in the marketplace to take on a number of issues with remarkable results, helping these companies develop sustainable business strategies. Some of the methods include efficient transparency into what causes the emissions, thus highlighting simple operational opportunities. For example, Maersk Lines has slowed down the speed of ships, which helps to reduce the level of emissions, just as it would if you maintained a steady speed in a car. Other methods include designing common platforms for communicating transportation data. And more complicated ideas encompass improved container software that can save up to 30 kilograms of CO2 for each reefer container per day, roughly reducing the level of emissions by half.
The shipping industry was not part of the Kyoto Agreement, and we're looking for you could say, an aggressive target to be set in connection with the climate summit in Copenhagen. That being said, it's very important for us that whatever agreement that's reached is an agreement that can be implemented globally, that creates a level playing field, so to speak, for everyone. We've gotten a lot of input that we've used in terms of our own internal strategies, and that has been very, very helpful, not least in terms of benchmarking ourselves against our peers and competition. So it has allowed us to set some fairly aggressive targets. We're looking at reducing our emissions by 20% over the next 7 years, and that's an indirect outcome of our work through the Clean Cargo Working Group.
The commitment of the members of the Clean Cargo Group extends to the setting of greenhouse gas emission reduction targets and enhancing energy efficiency through innovation and operational improvements. These include measuring greenhouse gas emissions, third-party verification, and communicating results.
What is then important for the future is, of course, that we, together with the carriers, are delivering now on these criteria that we have set up, so that we really show in action that we are reducing emissions and that we are improving in other dimensions related to environment and social issues.
The group will also continue to work with governments and industry to develop regulations and incentives that will further reduce greenhouse gas emissions and stimulate investments in low-carbon technology. The industry as a whole, through membership in the group, is taking ownership and welcoming change. The Clean Cargo Working Group hopes to continue work with the industry, developing common environmental platforms that will further enable reductions in greenhouse gas emissions and stimulate investments in low-carbon approaches, making the whole sector more sustainable.
Reducing carbon emissions will be at the heart of any new climate treaty that may be agreed in Copenhagen. And just as the shipping industry needs to reassess its structure, so too does the energy sector that provides the electricity we all rely on.
Great efforts have been made to establish renewable energy as a source of electricity for the future, to meet society's energy demands with clean power, and to greatly reduce the amount of carbon emitted to the atmosphere. Technological innovations in wind, hydro, geothermal, solar, tidal power and nuclear have proved that we are on the right course to decarbonise power generation and protect our environment. But what about in the meantime? How do we address the dual challenge of securing the supply of reliable and affordable energy and effecting a rapid transformation to a low-carbon system of energy supply? One company that believes it has the answer to this problem is Alstom Power. Alstom has supplied technology to more than 25% of the worldwide installed power generation base. The company has no single preferred technology and strongly supports the push for renewable forms, but at the same time acknowledges that fossil fuels such as coal, oil and gas will still represent more than 60% of electricity generation in 2030. Sustainable economic growth demands that we generate electricity in the most efficient way possible.
At Alstom, we strongly believe that if we want to address the climate change challenge, we have to use all the technology that we have. We have to use the CO2-free technology that can produce electricity without emitting CO2. We have to use to the limit the technology to produce electricity with the highest efficiency that we can. We have to continue in the direction of elaborating the so-called smart grid that can help us to use electricity safely and efficiently. And as fossil fuel will be used in the next 50 years to produce electricity, we have to develop the carbon capture solution and technology.